examining a tapestry of trolls in tutus. She looked terrified at the sight of the approaching 6th years and dropped the heavy brass scale she was carrying. "It's all right," said Hermione kindly, hurrying forward to help her. "Here," said Harry, still trying to sound casual. "Or are they still together?"
Good morning, everyone. I am just about to head out. It is a very dreary Sunday, but we have things to accomplish. I am finally starting, I'm sure, what will be a very long process of finding a dress for myself for my sister's wedding. We're like 6 months out, and she has finally, almost perfectly figured out her outfit situation. And I am on the clock to find something. I really don't know what I'm looking for. So today we're just gonna go to like Saks and Bloomies and just try on a bunch of different things to see like what silhouettes I might like. I really don't wear like long gowns ever. I can't remember the last time I've tried one on. So we're just seeing what I might like in different colors. I'm thinking I like greens. She's having a summer wedding, so I think green would look really nice. I have our only like bridesmaid. I'm her maid of honor, so she's not having a wedding party. So technically, she says I'm allowed to wear whatever I want. I'm sure there will be parameters when we actually start trying things on, but mostly she just wants me to feel good and to like what I wear. So that's the plan for today. Maybe do some Christmassy things. We were gonna go to a flea market as well, but it's raining, so that might not really be a good idea. So we're gonna start with Bloomies and Saks, and then maybe grab lunch, and then maybe do some Christmassy things, see some trees. I am very behind on my Christmas shopping, which is always happens to me. I'm a horrible procrastinator, but I wanted to show you what I'm wearing today because it has been very warm. My boyfriend was out just the other night and saw a desk on the side of the road and thought that'd be perfect. So he brought it home, and it is really nice. We need to like sand it and paint it because it's like a nautical blue, and there is nothing I hate more than like any nautical interior decor. I need to grab a coffee as well on the way. We were out last night and had a wonderful evening, but I have a headache today. A couple of really wonderful cocktails, and then we were sitting at this Italian restaurant for like many hours, and the wine was a flowin', and I need coffee and Advil and to really just get out of the apartment. I think that will help me feel better. It is officially 5:36 on a Friday. I'm done with work, and to treat myself, I thought that I would walk to a bookstore that I haven't been to yet. I was gifted a few gift cards, and I would like to use them on books. Other than that, I'm having a night in. I don't think I'll leave the apartment. I'm gonna see what there is for dinner, but there's not all that much. I'm just gonna like hang out tonight, probably watch a movie or two, catch up on some reading. I have been in such a slump recently, and it's for a bunch of reasons. One being that I'm reading a really massive book for my book club, and I'm not enjoying it at all, and it's taking so much of my time and brain power, but because I'm not enjoying it, it's going so slowly. So I took a break yesterday and actually started a new book that I am enjoying, but I'm not excited about it. It's good, I'm enjoying it, the writing style is nice, but I want to go and like find a book that I'm really excited about. So that's what we're gonna do. Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday. I had a lovely evening, and yesterday I watched so much Anne with an E. Stayed up really late, but I wanted to share the two books that I picked up with my gift card because I typically wouldn't treat myself to hardbacks, where I would very rarely, but these are two that I have been really itching to read, and they're by authors that I'm trying to read more by and more of their work. So the first being Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. There have been rave reviews about this one, and I absolutely loved Pew that I read a couple years ago now. And I just like have such a good feeling about this book. It's supposed to be like a dystopian kind of adjacent novel, but someone who was recently widowed rewriting her wife's story. The blurb is pretty big, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I have just heard wonderful things about this, and I love this edition. It is pretty hefty in the hand, and coolly enough, it's a signed edition, so I love when that happens. But yeah, I think this is going to be like an early, maybe January read when I'm home for the holidays. And then a book that I've also heard such wonderful things about. This is Eleanor Catton's Burnham Wood. She is the author of The Luminaries, which I now read like 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't like think about that book often, but when I was hearing so many wonderful things about Birnam Wood, I remembered why I loved The Luminaries so much. There's a lot of like, I mean, it's a huge book. It's it's a tome, but it does really fun things with plotting and with pacing and with repetition, and it has a really massive cast of characters and just so much like heaving energy. And I remember at the time saying, like, you end up getting whiplash in a book that you think is kind of really methodical and slow, but Catton just does something so wonderful with the plotting there. And it is historical fiction set in New Zealand during the gold rush, and it has some elements of like magical elements of real life. It has like these odd moments, like these seances I remember really vividly. But this one specifically, I believe, is about an environmentalist group that gets into some trouble. But I think this also has like a big chaotic cast. And it's also set in New Zealand. So yeah, I have just heard really wonderful things about this one too. And I'm going to try to squeeze this in before end of year. So those are the 2 books I treated myself to. And then I also got a Taylor Swift Christmas ornament because I think my cousin would really like it, and I'm seeing her today. And then I just hung out. But I do have a couple things going on today. It's only 7 a.m. So I think I'm going to get dressed and go to the park with my coffee, or maybe get a second coffee. But I live very near a park, and I did at my old place too. But each park in the city has like a different vibe to it. So the park I'm near now is just very different, and I love it a lot. So I think I'm gonna go there with my book and just have a really leisurely morning. I'm on this medication for my skin, and what I really should do is set an alarm at like 5 or 6 a.m. to take it, because I have to have an empty stomach for like 2 hours after I take it. And when I wake up, I'm always starving and I can't eat because I have to like wait it out. So yeah, I'm just gonna fill up on coffee and take a walk to the park. So I'll bring it with me. Okay, before we go to the park, I wanted to share the 2 really long books that I'm kind of stuck in right now. The first being The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. This is one that I was so excited about. It is about, it's a historical fiction novel spanning like 70 to 80 years, set in India, about a family lineage where each generation has somebody who dies of drowning, and it's kind of split up into chunks and sections. We started out in 1900, following a young girl who was married off at the age of 12, and about her her life in her husband's new home and her relationship with her stepson, and her uncovering secrets about this family, but also growing into a young woman over, like, I think we follow her over 5 years, maybe more than that. And it was a little clumsy sometimes, but I found myself enjoying that first like 100 pages or so. It was quite beautiful. And now we're in the 1930s, and we're following, I believe he's Scottish, but I don't remember. We're following a man who moves to India to study medicine, and he's encountering like the devastation of colonialism in real time. And he had been, very ignorant to that before. And I'm really not as impressed by this next section. We like jumped to the 1930s, and where we ended with the young woman's story was so moving and emotional, and I don't know, I just feel like the man's story is like very disconnected, and I'm sure the pieces will come together, but right now I'm kind of taken out of it. But I'm gonna persevere, because I think we'll get to like another related story soon, I'm hoping, or chunk. But yeah, I'm interested to see how I end up feeling about this one, because I think it will be based on how many sections I find really moving and beautiful and how it all ties together, because right now it seems very tenuously connected. Like, I couldn't tell you, other than it being set in India, I don't see the connection, but we'll see. I am really curious about this one still. And even though it's a really big book, it's a pretty quick read, so I don't think it will take me all too long. But the reason I started this one is because I was so desperate to find a book that I felt excited about. Because for book club, I am reading this tome, The Golden Notebook by Doris Lessing. Now, this is a pretty famous novel, but to me, I hadn't heard much about it, and I still don't know too much about it. Our first book club because we have 2 sessions on this one because it's so long, and the first one was supposed to be this week, but it ended up being canceled and will be rescheduled. And thank God, because we were supposed to have read like 350 pages, and I'm on page 57. So I'm glad it was rescheduled, or will be rescheduled. But I don't know, like, has anybody read this one? I am just not, I can't get into it. And I don't know, it's about a woman named Anna, and she's an author, and she's had some success with her first novel, but I think the proceeds from that are like going to run out. We feel that pressure, and it's about, I think it's set in the 1960s. I could be wrong, but there's a lot of discussion around like communism and talk about her political affiliations, but the way it's written doesn't feel super firm, maybe. I don't know. But the opening section was interesting enough. It's about her, and I don't remember if the woman is her sister or her good friend, and this just shows you how invested I am. But a conversation between the 2 women, you can feel there's a lot of love, but also tension there. And now we get into the 4 notebooks that Anna keeps, and I think each one is supposed to be like a different facet of her mind, but the notebook sections themselves I find really taxing to read, and I think I just have to like dedicate an afternoon and not do anything but read this, because usually when I like eliminate all distractions, I force myself to be invested in it. But I don't know, has anybody read this? Tell me, does it get better? Will I appreciate it even if I don't like the writing style? Will I appreciate what this book is doing? Because right now I'm unconvinced.